E pluribus unum, out of many, one. It's the country's original motto, embossed on the Great Seal of the United States. And all our money. But look at the news and it seems like this country is more divided than ever. But there's more to this story. I'm Michael Koenigs, and for the past 6 months, I've been traveling the country in search of our better angels. Beyond the breaking news banners, there are thousands of ordinary people with seemingly nothing in common joining forces to achieve extraordinary things. Cops and former gang members.
And once we get to know each other, we start seeing that we have a lot more in common.
A veteran amputee and the surfers of Southern California.
We're going to be able to help him take his surfing to a whole nother level.
A former member of the KKK and a Syrian refugee.
We are so divided, we forgot what makes us strong is really reaching out to the other side.
So take a break from the partisan divide and remember our most foundational truth, that together we are much stronger than the sum of our parts. E pluribus unum. It's on the money, people. This is More in Common. This is a show about bridging divides, and in this country, no divide is greater than that between hate groups like the KKK and the people they target. But in rural Georgia, we found an unlikely friendship that demonstrates the transformative power of reaching out.
My name's Chris Buckley, former U.S. Army Sergeant, recovering drug addict, former KKK Imperial Nighthawk. I was raised up with certain values and it might not have been the best values. Homosexuality's wrong. Feminism is stupid. Whites stay with whites. You don't mix races.
How'd you feel about Muslims?
They blew up our Twin Towers, you know, they're killing our boys overseas. I was actively engaged in combat with them. They've taken lives that meant something to me. When I was in my last tour in Afghanistan, we did this tattoo here. This is the Arabic symbol for infidel. I just figured that I would go ahead and broadcast that I was the infidel. I was scared of Muslims, really. But if you'd asked me that then, I would have never admitted that. I would have said, I hate them.
My name is Haval Kelly. My story is like the story of any refugee in the world. We pretty much had a great life in Syria, and because of political crisis against the Kurds, we had to leave. My father was tortured, and we just wasn't safe for us, so we left everything and applied to asylum in America. Within 10 years, I went from washing dishes, and now across the street, literally a block away, is Emory University, where now I train as a cardiologist.
Why would you befriend a member of the KKK?
Why not? We are so divided now in this country that we forgot what makes us strong is really reaching out to the other side. A lot of my friends was like, oh, you're not afraid of him. I'm like, I think he's more afraid of me.
Vol reaches out to me once or twice, and I just don't know how to respond. Finally, I just respond back. I was like, hey, Vol, it's Chris.
He had so much anger and things that he didn't understand, but I let him talk first. They say in medicine, 90% of the time, the patient has a diagnosis and a solution to their problem. If you just listen.
Immediate just connection, we start talking, and he tells me a story, and it's like, wow, you're a refugee from Syria, came 10 days after 9/11. You worked your way into med school, washing dishes and drilling yourself on vocabulary. And I kind of felt unjustified in my hatred. You know, and I realized that it was just a way for me to reach out and scream for help, and that's what hate is. It's a cry for help, and I'm just glad that somebody was there to hear my cry.
What happened? Why are we so divided? Why is this anti-immigration sentiment? Is it because they truly don't like immigrant refugees, or probably because they never met someone?
What's up, man?
The guy who owned the place is an Iraqi refugee.
How you doing, man?
And he's also Afghani too. He's a friend of ours.
Nice to meet you, man. A year ago, you would have not caught me dead in one of these places.
Here in a Middle Eastern restaurant?
Never
Owned by an Iraqi refugee.
I was scared of what I didn't know. I was scared of what I didn't understand. And honestly, I was scared that I might have a conversation with somebody and they might change my mind.
It's hard to hate something you know. I tell everyone, if like people who don't like immigrants and refugees, they haven't tried my mother's food. This is hummus. What do you think?
Yum. I'm getting used to that.
And you think these friendships can be real?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Former white supremacists and a former refugee can be friends and talk to each other on Facebook and send like these funny memes to each other. I think anyone could do that.
My goal in life is now to help support the people who make this country what it is, you know? We don't need to make America great again. America's already great, thanks to you people that are out here in the crowd. Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes the hardest things we can do as men is eat that humble pie. Every time I see him, I walk away just even more amazed at just the magnitude of person that he is. The total embodiment of the American dream. One of the most amazing Americans that I've ever met in my entire life. And he just happens to have a different faith than me.
We head now from rural Georgia to Southern California, where 2 Navy SEALs are hitting the surf and bringing the veteran community together.
When I surf, I don't want to come back on land. It's quite nice to be on the ocean and kind of weightless and feeling the energy of the ocean and being around other people. When I come back on land and I change out, and I feel a bit more disabled, but when I'm out on the water, I don't really feel that different.
While on patrol in Afghanistan, Dan stepped on an IED, triggering a massive explosion.
I was in a coma for about 8 days, and I woke up and I'm back in Bethesda, Maryland at a naval hospital. I can't get out of a wheelchair. I have a ruptured bladder, colostomy bag, broken hands, shattered pelvis really with an external fixator, 2 legs amputated above the knee. At that point, this is pretty much ground zero. I told myself in the hospital, I am just sick of being indoors all day. I was craving fresh air, craving the outdoors and nature. I got into Paralympic sports. I'm in the sitting category for the Paralympic team. It's an honor to represent the US, but what I was really missing was the reconnection with the ocean.
Tell me about your friendship with Kyle.
I knew Kyle from the Navy. We've known each other since probably 2005.
He was on the East Coast going back to school. I'm out here. I found out he was starting to surf, and I was like, man, we got to reconnect.
What is one more wave?
When we heard that the veteran suicide rate was an averaging 22 a day, we said, hey, our favorite form of therapy is getting out there and surfing. So what we do is we build our wounded, disabled veterans customized surfing equipment that we tailor to their individual need, their individual requirement, in an effort to get them back out there and getting them some more waves.
He's an amazing guy. He's been teaching me a lot about where to position myself. I try to get out to San Diego every year now to surf with him.
When we went out with Dan, we were looking at how he was actually surfing, and we said, you know what? We're gonna be able to help him take his surfing to a whole nother level.
We started collaborating. How could we make a custom surfboard that would fit my unique center of gravity, my unique body shape?
We've learned so much that's not just helping Dan, but it's helping every single one of the veterans that we serve.
I think we've really hit the nail on the head with this latest design right here.
What do all surfers, regardless of disability, have in common?
Each one of us has that drive, that want, that desire to excel on the next wave.
I can think of waves that I've caught in Mexico or Indonesia and here in San Diego, and I have the biggest smile on my face and really makes me feel alive and you know, intense.
Now we go to Chicago for an incredible game where cops and former gang members are taking the field together.
That's all we hear all day, man. Sometimes it's cops, sometimes it's ambulance, but when you hear cops and ambulance at the same time, somebody been killed or something.
Turf battles, the violence between different gangs. You can't be friends with people who live just a few blocks from you.
Man, it's not even a few blocks, it's like the next block over.
Growing up in this area, you can go past Jackson. So
Stepping across the street
could put you in harm's way. Back in the day, you had to know how to fight.
I'm a West Sider myself from the West Side of Chicago. So I totally get what these young men go through, but at the same time, I'm here to keep peace.
To improve relations in their community, cops and former gang members face off on the softball diamond. It's called the Peace League.
Since the softball league came to our community, it's like brought us together as a brotherhood.
Give me something to hit.
So it's got to be unusual to have gang members playing against police officers.
It is unusual.
I've been doing this for 35 years. Nowhere else that I've worked have I seen this.
Oh, it's like that? Okay.
I got a few guys that's been in gangs forever, all their life, and you know they playing against the police and they never thought this would ever happen.
Ex-convicts, gang members, the community, they want to win that game. The police want to win that game.
Even though they protect and serve, you got a chance to tell them when you see them face to face. Yeah, remember we beat y'all 15-10.
We look at the police different, that they come out and join us in the community because you don't have a lot of police officers that would do that.
They get an opportunity to see police in a different light than someone enforcing rules.
When you see a police officer interacting with us, it brings us closer to each other. You know, like all police is just not bad, and that's what everybody think. All police is just not bad.
It's like that. I'm gonna take my watch off.
Good pitch, King.
People are more the same than we are different. And once we take the opportunity to get to know each other, we start seeing that we have a lot more in common. This is gonna continue on, and it's only gonna get better.
When we come back, I'm trading these city sneakers for a pair of Texas boots. Putting on the boots. Ah! There's a lizard in there! Whoa, there's like 20 dead bugs in this one. Ah! Man, this is Texas, huh, folks? The vegan diet's become increasingly popular in the United States. That means no meat, no dairy. So what do a vegan activist and a cattle farmer have in common? We went to Texas to find out. This is the life of a cowboy, huh?
That's Penny, Penny Lane.
A little Beatles love here, huh?
The sassy one is Rue over there. This is Baby Goat. She was rescued right out of a Houston slaughterhouse. That's Sunrise. That's Lulu. That's Dominique. Everybody here has a name and a medical file. Did you lay an egg? Here we are.
Tell me a little bit about your love story.
For the cows? No, I'm kidding.
She was singing in a bar. She had a firm rule. She would never date anybody in the crowd. Supposedly, I was the first.
I came up to him and I was like, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy for feeling so blue.
In 2010, got married. She wanted me to move to Houston and I wanted to stay right here. We compromised and she came here. But as soon as I started selling cows, she didn't like it.
He wanted you to be a cattle farmer.
Yes, a rancher's wife, a good rancher's wife. And I was very, very obstinate and resistant. So he told me about these babies that needed a mama. Rowdy girl, I fed her twice a day, every day, for months. She was the reason I began to see all those cows as beings and not things, and not food. This is what we call the red trailer. This is what we used to transport all the baby calves in when we would take them to the sale barn. The mothers would follow it all the way up our fence line, crying for their babies. This red trailer holds a lot of memories for a lot of different animals that went to the sale barn. And no more red trailer.
She went vegan and I wasn't happy about it.
I always loved my husband, but there was a point in time when I absolutely couldn't stand him. I couldn't stand what he represented. We thought nothing would shake our marriage. And me going vegan was threatening the very core of who we were as a married couple. You know, when you're at a place where you're calling your own husband a murderer and you believe it, and he's having to hear that, it just was shattering him.
We had a knockdown, drag out when I was trying to sell calves and I was trying to load them up.
Not on my watch. You take those babies up to the sale barn one more time, I will follow it. I will get in my car, I'll drive all the way to the sale barn, I'll buy every one of them cows back and bring them all back home. Well, if you're going to sell the whole herd, why don't you sell them to me? After
she started collecting this money and we made this deal, I figured it'd all fall apart.
And in less than 4 months, I bought my husband's cows. I raised $36,000, and every second along the way, he was like more and more open, more aware, more convinced.
We're in the heart of cattle country, and you became a vegan?
Veganism was shoved down my throat, but I'm glad I did it. I'm healthier, I'm more enlightened on what we're doing to the earth, and the animals don't have to suffer either.
They all have a story. He was rescued from slaughter.
This is Panda, she was born here. Our mission really isn't to save cows, it's to educate people.
But mine is to save cows too.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to save all of them. Us starting the first vegan farm sanctuary ever has drawn a lot of attention to us. People in animal agriculture saw our story, and we weren't your typical card-carrying, poster-carrying vegan. We were former ranchers, and we look like ranchers, we talk like ranchers. It's so good to meet y'all!
So people are coming from all over the country to be on this farm and learn what you're doing?
You know, one day I woke up and I said, you know, I'm not just an animal advocate, I'm a rancher's advocate. It's like we were a beacon, like this light that just went straight up, you know, and everybody from all around that was vegan or thinking about vegan could see us.
And you love Renee?
Oh yeah. She's an incredible woman. She's a strong woman. She didn't let anything get in her way, including me.
Now when I see my husband, who he really is, the man that's always been there, and the man that's in every rancher.
Where's the friendliest neighborhood in all of America? Find out when we come back. Good to see you. What a greeting. Wow, I get a full-on hug, huh?
Yes, I love meeting people, and I don't believe in strangers.
Everyone you want to develop a friendship with.
Yes.
Here in North Street in North Carolina. It's a pretty pleasant neighborhood. I'm gonna meet one of the neighbors here. You, Amy?
Mike! Yes,
How's it going? I'm Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Good to see you. What a greeting. Wow, I get a full-on hug, huh?
Yes.
Amy, that was a heck of a welcome. You know how to make people feel good when they come into the room, huh?
Yeah! I love meeting people, and I don't believe in strangers, nor acquaintances.
Everyone you want to develop a friendship with.
Yes.
You are the mayor
Yes.
of North Street.
Yes, I am.
You're waving to people.
Yes.
You're greeting them.
I love North Street. Hey, Nick Funkbug.
I'm kind of sweaty. Can I have a hug anyway?
Oh, man.
You're even beautiful when you're sweaty. Hey, Cocoa Breeze. A boop, boop, boop. Bingo tomorrow?
Yep, 3 o'clock.
Yes.
And so you gossip with your neighbors here?
Yeah.
What's the good gossip right now?
You.
And what is the North Street neighborhood?
It's 2 city blocks in Durham. A couple of families got together and wondered, what if we had this community where our friends and our family members with different disabilities could be at the center of our life together. There's these 2 houses in the neighborhood called the Friendship Houses, and those are where graduate students at Duke live together with one friend resident. It's a neighborhood full of people of all abilities, but it seems like it's just a neighborhood full of friends.
So you have a condition called Williams syndrome. What's that?
I don't know what it is, and I don't know how it happened, but I have a missing gene number 7. I get emotional. I get mad at people. It's a feeling. It comes out of everybody.
Well, you also bring a lot of joy and you feel excitement, right?
Yes, yes. Like now I feel extremely excited.
What was your daily life before you moved to this neighborhood?
Because I had no friends. It was really hard to meet other people and everything. But when I came to this place, boom, baby, I started to, you know, burst out with laughter and joy, and everything inside me felt happy, and, you know, this was just a great place to be surrounded by.
Tell me about how your friendship with Avery started.
She's just, you know, she's a beauty. She's a beauty outside and inside all together. And I just love her for that.
Amy is the most joyful person I know, and in many ways, being with Amy lets me be more myself.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We've known each other for about 4 years. In those 4 years, there's been many a sleepover, multiple road trips. There's been an El Divo cruise. You want to listen to any music?
Could we play El Divo?
And you guys do some bowling too, huh?
Yes, bowling makes me happy. Hey!
You go in there and tear it up?
Yeah.
We're about to tear it up. Amy's gonna show us how.
Sweet.
Awesome! Girl!
Now, how often do you guys come bowling here?
Rarely.
You come once a week.
Once a week, okay.
Just not enough. You love it, huh?
I love it.
No shortage of fun and joy on North Street.
And I met my husband there the same night I met Amy. Amy left a bigger impression. But Zach left a bigger second impression.
This is the place where we met and fell in love. I actually just lived in this apartment for 4 years, a man named Nathan Freshwater. When I moved into the Friendship House and was like really unsure what it'd be like, couldn't really imagine my life with Nathan, and then 4 years later, I can't imagine my life without him.
Most recently, she was in my wedding as a bridesmaid.
I never been a bridesmaid in any wedding. I was proud of myself, and I would love to be a bridesmaid again.
You mean a lot to me, Amy.
Aw, thanks, Avery Leonard.
Avery Leonard Bond.
You will always be Avery Leonard to me.
Love you.
What's your favorite part about Avery?
She's not shy. Don't be shy is another word I like to say, because if people are shy, that's not good for them, because they can't talk to people or interact with people, stuff like that.
So get out there, wave to your neighbor.
Yes,
because you never know whether that friendship might get started.
Yes, right.
My favorite thing about Amy is she is so loving, so wise, and just super welcoming.
We feel emotional, right, Avery?
We're feeling emotional, all sorts of emotions.
Yeah. She's a piece of me and I'm a piece of her.
When we come back, what's it like being one of the first girls entering the Boy Scouts? You've got a pink room, you've got all kinds of Barbies, and you want to be a Boy Scout.
Mm-hmm.
How come? This year, Boy Scouts isn't just for boys anymore. One girl is blazing a trail to the Pinewood Derby in a hot pink car.
I'm Brianna, I'm 10 years old, and I'm one of the first girls to be joining the Boy Scouts. This is my room, and this is my bed, my TV. I have plenty of Barbies in here.
You've got a pink room, you've got all kinds of Barbies, and you want to be a Boy Scout.
Mm-hmm.
How come?
Because you get to do outdoor stuff with your family. This is Daddy's old uniform, and then these are some of his patches. I was in Girl Scouts. They didn't have like shorts. It was just a sash. I like the Boy Scout one better.
So what does it feel like to be one of the first girls to join the Boy Scouts?
Cool and exciting. You show other girls they can do the same things that boys can do.
That's a 100-year tradition of just boys.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you're breaking through a little bit?
Yeah.
How do you feel about girls in general?
Sometimes they can be annoying. Stand your feet like this so they can't flee forward.
Pull! Pull! When I was a kid, girls and boys, you know, they'd run in opposite direction. What do you think's changed?
The boys might have become more mature.
You've become more mature, huh?
Hello.
What's your favorite activity of all this?
Well, the Pinewood Derby is cool.
How'd you do in the Pinewood Derby?
I got second place.
But who got first?
Well, I won.
You won the Pinewood Derby?
Yeah.
You even beat the boys at the Pinewood Derby?
Yeah.
So did you ever think you'd be sitting next to Brianna here in the Scouts?
No. So usually I thought the Girl Scouts would be with the girls and the Boy Scouts would be with the boys. The girls and the Girl Scouts don't do the same experiences as they do in the Boy Scouts.
What do you think boys and girls have in common?
I think boys and girls have in common is they're both Scouts.
That's the new thing boys and girls have in common. They can all be Scouts. These are just a few unlikely friendship stories we found across America. They remind us this election season that no matter how divided we seem, we actually have more in common. In fact, we've got a lot more. Follow us on Facebook Watch for weekly episodes and more incredible stories. So you play tennis right over that wall.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just about being brave enough to reach out to another community.
It's just love for the culture of dance. It's just love. That's what it's all about.